Hello friends, welcome to GK Sports India YouTube channel. I have a very special guest joining me from London, Gladstone Small, the former England pace bowler who played 17 test matches for England between 86 and 1991, played 50 plus ODIs. He was part of the two World Cups, 1987 in the Indian subcontinent and in 1992 in Australia and New Zealand. Unfortunately, he ended up on the losing side in both the finals, but then he has come over it long ago. And he, as you can see, he's smiling and he's taken it in the sporting way. So without taking much of your time, viewers, here is Gladstone Small joining us from London to talk about the ongoing Anderson Tendulkar Trophy, how India fared or how England won, what to look ahead. And of course, there is quite a lot more to discuss with Gladstone. Gladstone, welcome to GK Sports India, and so very kind of you to have agreed to do this. It's my pleasure to have you on GK Sports India.
Good afternoon from GK, from a hot, sunny, lovely England. That was a pleasure. Thankfully, I didn't have any commitments this afternoon. No golf, no golf in the diary today. So be delighted to spend some time and having a chat to you. Always keen to chat about this lovely, wonderful game of cricket. No problems at all.
Of course, yes, and I understand that you, since post your playing days, you have been taking people on guided tours to various cricketing events. And the last year you were in India for the start of for the first part of the English tour of India and I met you in Hyderabad.
Absolutely.
Visakhapatnam, you were on the opposite end of the press box, so couldn't meet you in Visakhapatnam. But then, how has it been post-cricket?
Listen, I've been very fortunate, GK, that cricket's a game that I've loved from my youngest memories. My furthest memories is loving the game growing up as a boy in the Caribbean, in Barbados, where cricket was a daily part of daily life. So, and that's still very much the case. I was very fortunate to play all through my teenage years and young years. And then when someone decided to pay me to play, that was a bonus, because I would have done it for love, quite frankly. But luckily, I played for 20 years professionally, Warwickshire and England, when they got obviously short of a bowler or two. So, but then afterwards, I was happy to finish. The body had given up on me when I got to about mid-30s. The legs started, knees and then the hips started to ache a bit from bungling in, bowling a cricket ball. Brilliant. Obviously, the medical supervision back when I played wasn't as professional as the modern day guys sort of have at their disposal. So, but hey, would do it. Love to do it all over again. No problems. But I was able to stay in the game. I work for the what's called the Professional Cricketers Association here in the UK, which is like the players' union, looking after all the things the players in terms of their health, education, career advice, and so that kept me well involved with the game. But the one thing I've always enjoyed doing in the game is traveling. I love being right from the moment I first went on a cricket tour in 1980. And so since then, I've pretty much England is a lovely place to live, but it's not that pretty and lovely come in the winter months in this December, January, February, March. So any chance I get to get away from England in those times, I take, and I've been very lucky to be involved in this on the travel side of sport of cricket. And obviously England go touring all the wonderful places that we get to visit, the Caribbean, Australia, South Africa, India, Sri Lanka. And the English cricket fans love to get involved in those trips and watch, not just come to watch cricket, but to just experience life in those wonderful parts of the world that this lovely game has been played for many years. So I get to go on those trips, and I absolutely love being with people who look forward to watching cricket and talking about cricket and meeting fellow cricket fans just like yourself, GK.
Thank you. Yeah, of course, you're from Barbados, where currently Australia and West Indies are involved in a test match, and not a high-scoring game. Could end in 3 days. With the third day just about a few minutes to start.
Yes, I always keep track of what's going on around the world and in on the cricket scores, particularly GK for a test match. I don't quite follow white ball cricket as avidly as I do test match cricket. But so yes, I've obviously two teams at the West Indies. Obviously, we know sadly they're not the powerhouse that they would have been sort of 15, 20 years ago. But I know that there's still a lot of love and affection for the game of cricket in the Caribbean. It hurts them that obviously the status of their team's not quite the level that they would have want them to be. And I know, listen, the players themselves are very hurt, not hurt, but they're very care about how they're perceived. That these are young men, obviously, playing a sport they love and trying to do it at their best level. So I don't really. It's just the circumstances that they're in at the moment. But yes, I've been following that game, and obviously Australia. Always pleased to see the Aussies. Anytime I can see the Aussies on the back foot in a game of sport, I'm quite pleased. So hopefully the West Indies can press on, and they've got the slight advantage. They need to not to be chasing the wicket. Does seem quite a bit of movement in it. So they wouldn't want to be chasing much more than, say, 200 runs, I would say, going into that last inning. So, but obviously, I know one of the discussions internationally I know that the ICC apparently are looking at reducing Test match cricket from 5 days to 4, which, I mean, having seen what we saw at Headingley last week in the England-India game, and what a fantastic fifth day that was. It will be a shame if things were put in place where that would rob a really top game of cricket from being concluded in that sort of fashion. So it's something that needs to be carefully thought through. I would think, because yes, there are anomalies where you get these three test matches finishing 3-4 days. But then you get the magnificence of a fifth day of a test match, and when you go into that fifth day when all three results are possible, then that's what makes a test match, cricket match, the dramas, the highs, the lows, the twists and the turns, and because of that length of time that it has, that 5 day span, you can be out of the game, for a session, a day, 2 days. But if you keep yourself in check and keep your faith and keep your belief, you can still have enough time to make the result your way. So I hope they don't make too rash a notion on the days that Test cricket are played.
Yeah, so England did come back. They had though they were on the back foot for most of the sessions. They did win those crucial moments and go on to win the test match last week at Headingley. So what were your observations, where you thought England did the right things or where India faltered?
Well, listen, I mean, obviously, England, right from the outset, they probably had a Ben Stokes as obviously a very astute guy. Obviously, these days, these guys know all of the data and the analysis of what that gets passed to them from all the previous the history, which is something that obviously, yes, you got to respect what happens, what goes in the past, but you also got to live in the present and play the game in the present. But Ben Stokes would be aware that the head of this Headingley pitch that they played on last week, the data shows that it actually gets better to bat on days 4 and 5. So when he put India in on that day one at Headingley last week, he was having a bob each way, as they say. He was banking that, okay, if the new ball moves around on the cloudy conditions and we get into the India batting on first innings, we can get ahead of the game. But equally, if India bat like India capable of batting, which they did, I mean, 400 for 3, going into the second session of the second day. I mean, India were very much of the in the ascendancy and that had the control of that game in their hands. And then, England fought back. What would be troubling India is both innings where they lost. I think the first innings they lost 7 wickets for 30, 40 runs. And then in the second innings, being in another commanding batting position, they then lost 3 wickets, 6 wickets for 30 runs. So I think that would be troubling the Indian team and their management as to how do they rectify that. Perhaps they need to look at the balance of their team going forward into this series. They might to score 5 centuries in a test match and lose. That hurts. That would have caused a lot of concern amongst the team hierarchy to see how did that happen. So they'll be examining that obviously the week that they'll have between the next test match. But that was obviously a big turning point in both innings. That was a big turning point in the game, and they had the game at their disposal to really put England on the pressure. As for England, it's really brilliant to I've watched a lot of the cricket that our guys play, and over the years it's been a revelation how England have played, how they've played their cricket in this period of obviously Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes. I mean, okay, people going on, but McCullum, he obviously has a big role to play, but it's Ben Stokes. He's the one who calls the shots, and quite rightly in cricket, the captain is the guy who has to stand up and be judged on his calls and when he's so that's so Stokes. He's really he's good. He reads the game. He keeps the belief in himself and the team going all the way through, and that's the thing that's what's good about this England team, that they believe that they can win from most positions when they that's what they play. They don't play to draw games. They set out right from the outset to win. And when you do that in cricket, you're always going to find yourself, in positions, and then you got to be good enough to then go and make the most of those positions. So it's been great to watch. It doesn't always work when you play in that sort of style. You're going to have the cricket is a game. It doesn't always go the way it doesn't go by script. There's the peaks and the troughs and the movement, how the game how you can come back into the game and get sidelined. So, but it's really enjoyable watching the pathways of this current England team. So, but they've got their problems as well. The ball and attack looked a bit, didn't look too potent at times. On when the sun was out at Headingley, where the ball wasn't moving, the pitch was dead. India, wonderful batsmen Rahul and Jaiswal and Gill, and then Pant. Crikey, geez, how do you bowl to Rishabh Pant when he's in that sort of mood? The guy must be a nightmare to set a cricket field to, because he hits the balls in places that his hands. He's got such wonderful dexterity with his hands, Richard Pant, that he gets the balls in areas that you can't set fields to. So which is a thrill to watch, but it must be a nightmare to captain and bowl against, I'll have to say. But so England, they've got concerns as well in the bowling department. I mean, I'm sure you'll be aware they've added Jofra Archer's been added to the squad for this next Test match at Edgbaston in next week. And here's someone who hasn't bowled with a red ball. I think he's bowled about 20 odd overs. He played last week for his county Sussex, where he took a wicket and obviously got through the game, thankfully unscathed from injury. It's a real this Jofra Archer is a real talent, unquestionably. In the history of in my time of watching cricket, I mean, if the guys who have bowled the balls of speed that he's capable of bowling at, probably you can count them on the fingers of both hands in my time. And so he's a rare talent, Jofra. But sadly, obviously, injuries has sort of derailed his cricketing journey so far. So hopefully, for his sake and for England's sake, he's able to get a run of games and form and fitness, and then with that hopefully form to boost his career and obviously to England. So we'll see. I don't know if he'll play at Edgbaston. The weather, as I said, the weather in England has been very good the last month or so. The pitches have started to go quite dry. Edgbaston isn't known for pace. It's not a particularly. I played there for 20 years, so if I had my time again, I'll probably play there as a batsman rather than a bowler these days. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where England go with that one. As I would say, they'll be probably looking for keeping Joffrey probably at Lords. I can see his bowling coming into effect more at Lords than say Edgbaston. And then obviously they'll probably rotate the likes of they like to have the likes of Atkinson. Probably get him a couple of games, and hopefully Mark Wood might come into the equation as well. Perhaps at Old Trafford tests and the Oval. So England need to have a look at all these guys and get there. It's good to see Ben Stokes. He's back bowling and his fitness. That's crucial for the team balance to have their captain bowling. He's not going to bowl a lot of overs, but he's a very effective bowler when his body allows. He has a brilliant seam position on the ball that allows the ball to swing when not many other bowlers can get the ball to deviate off the straight. Ben Stokes is able to. He's got that ability to do that. So his role is crucial in this team now and looking down into the future where the team goes. Well, England's obviously their batting is phenomenal. How the likes obviously Duckett, he's almost in the pant category of difficult to bowl to keep him quiet. Crawley is a wonderful stroke player. Root. I mean, geez, what can you say about Joe Root? The guy is a phenomenon. England's best batsman, definitely that I've seen in my time. The guy is a talent, but he needs to temper himself. I'll say, and he can't. You got to respect. You got to pay respect to bowlers. You can't have it your own way. But he's been dropped something phenomenally in his last dozen innings. He's been dropped 26 times or something like that. I mean, he obviously have a lucky charm about him, but he's going to come a spell where that's going to be broken. So he needs to be able to ride through that. So listen, it makes for exciting viewing, that's for sure.
Gladstone, that was a very comprehensive answer and which contained answers to 5 or 6 questions that I had jotted down. So that was fantastic. So you were speaking about Ben Stokes and the captain calls the shots. Shubman Gill, first test as captain, he still has a long way to go. And read somewhere that Nasser Hussain had commented about India or 3 players at least leading on the 5th and final day. What were your observations of Shubman Gill as a captain? Still has a long way to go, but your first impressions of him as test captain.
Listen, captains to say like they're born and not made. I mean, Shubman Gill as a young cricketer has always impressed me with his batting, his demeanour. He looks calm. Supposed to have a calm head. Doesn't get excitable. But obviously, he's only captained 1 Test match. And sadly, obviously for him, wouldn't have gone the way he would have dreamed about in his first Test match. But he's obviously captain in India, I believe, before in youth done in the Youth World Cup, and so he's obviously not been groomed for the job. He's definitely has had some experience. But then you come into the Test arena, you have up against a really experienced team in foreign conditions as well. Which is and so it's going to be a learning curve for Gill as he goes on. Hopefully, he's got the mental toughness to go along with his sublime skills to get through that. But time will tell. It's an interesting dynamic. Obviously, with India, they've obviously just lost obviously some great players, and you can't deny that Virat Kohli is someone I actually was not only a great batsman, but also I thought how he led India and actually I thought he actually reinvented and kickstart in particularly in the Test arena. He's the one I love watching him in the field and his energy, his passion, his drive. He would have, you know, he took it to the opposition. I don't think that probably not in Shubman Gill's makeup. You got to play to you got to be captain in your own style. If you're not a street fighter, if you start acting like a street fighter, that comes off as phony, and even your teammates and the opposition sees that straight away. So Shubman Gill has to develop his style of how he is and be natural. Don't try to be something he's not. That's the only advice I can offer him. And then let his cricket knowledge and you know and just be able to go to go with your instinct rather than by data and all this sort of stuff that seems to prevail.
Gladstone, earlier you mentioned about Jofra Archer, of course, added to the squad, but perhaps he may be playing the third Test match at Lords. India face a similar situation. It's known before the series that Jasprit Bumrah is going to play only 3 Test matches. How do you see the whole equation, Bumrah and the workload management, and how crucial is he for India's performances in England?
Yes, I mean that's an interesting scenario there. Obviously, we're listen. Jasprit Bumrah is a great bowler. I mean, it's a marvel. I marvel at his action, but his accuracy, his movement, his pace, and he's not a batsman. When he bowls, the batsman will know that they've got a challenge because he has it all, Bumrah. But obviously, they're trying to manage his he's had his injuries worry recently. And that's because of that ball in action. You always thought that eventually it's going to come. The body is not a machine, particularly when it comes to bowling a cricket ball in repetitive styles and movement and his strain. So he's obviously having to start to manage that process. So, but it's an interesting situation with being one down in the series, and then you're going to say your best bowler is only going to play another 2 Test matches. I can imagine the English batsmen will be starting to rub their hands together at that knowledge of knowing that they only have to put it with Bumrah for another 2 Test matches rather than all 4. So that's an interesting situation. So I would have said that India, the team balance needs to be addressed. I would say that they probably need to play another top order batsman. To help to make sure that they're not, when they get to 4 wickets down, you still got batting power to come. That's important from not just for the batters, but also England bat bowlers know that they get into whatever score they get India. As I said, 300-400 for 3-4. The tail is very long at the moment. So that's and the bowlers get renewed energy and rejuvenated energy, knowing of that situation, that their wickets down the order to get. So India needs to bring in another top order batsman, but the bowling scenario also needs to be addressed as well. With who else? You got to take 20 wickets to win a Test match, and if Bumrah is not there to do it, you got to start searching long and hard as to where we're going to get those wickets from. So their concerns, probably you can see the likes of Kuldeep Yadav probably coming, but the pitches in England aren't really, they're not really spinner's track. I mean, Edgbaston, just a flat track, really quite slow. Lords, The two greatest spin bowlers in Test cricket history are not on the honours board at Lords, Muralitharan or Shane Warne. None of those have taken the 5 wickets haul at Lords to be on the honours board. So it's the only pitch that really, actually funny enough, the final two pitches, Old Trafford and the Oval, are probably the two pitches where the spinners might enjoy a bit more support and joy. So that and with the weather that was, as I mentioned, that we're having here, the dry, hot weather, you can see those two pitches coming into the light to the aid of the Indian spin bowlers. So perhaps that might come to their rescue with the Old Trafford and Oval Test match, where they can probably play definitely two spinners. They might look to play three. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we are in the last 5 minutes of this chat. So any conversation with you will be incomplete without Brian Lara, 501, Warwickshire versus Durham, 31 years ago. Are there any untold stories about that moment, that match, that knock? You were part of that.
Funny.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I mean, geez, listen, to be that close and seeing someone that good on a daily level, batting in the style and the way he batted in that. There was listening the form he was in, and that was 94 when the 501. And strange enough, this weekend there's a movie, a 501 movie that's actually a cricket film director, cricket fan has produced some years ago, and it's actually being rescreened in London on tomorrow. Actually, unfortunately I can't get there. I've got some other commitments, but I mean, what I recall about that one was he actually Brian Lara called that innings when he was on about 200, and at the lunch on that last day he was on about 250, 240, 236, some of that he was. And we were sat having lunch in the dressing at Warwickshire and Edgbaston. He says, "Guys, you reckon I can get this record?" And what? No, hang on. You just, yeah, of course you'll beat 375. You'll get past that easily. And he went, no, Hanif Mohammed. And we all looked and someone said 499. Nah, give over. You're not gonna, no chance. And he just, all he said was, "Watch me." 2 words. He said, "Watch me." He called that record when he still needed another 260 runs to go that afternoon at Edgbaston. Absolutely mind blowing.
Oh, wow. It's been so many years, 31 years, and now bats dominate ball these days with the bats getting wider, though there are those gadgets to check the width of the bats of late. But you think this 501 record will not be broken at all?
Well, I mean, obviously the landscape of cricket has changed. Even in my time since away from the game, the white ball cricket obviously dominate. There are lots of the franchise leagues that's going on. I saw somewhere that some news on the news over here recently that I think India, the BCCI, and the ECB are objecting to a new T20 league in Saudi Arabia. I believe I saw something about that. And obviously money, revenues, do that the short form game, the white ball game, and that's probably one of the reasons why the test match, they're looking at that reducing test match days from 5 to 4 to allow more space in the calendar for money making ventures in white ball cricket, which would be a travesty, quite frankly. But there you go. We all know financial aspects sometimes come before common sense and history and traditions and all the great things that goes along with this wonderful game. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where it all plays out. We know, listen, things change, times change. We move on. Whether we move on for the better or the worse, time will tell.
And what's going to be your next cricket tour? Of course, the Ashes are coming up this year end, and I'm sure you'll be there for the Ashes, where you performed a match-winning, Ashes-winning performance in Melbourne, 1986. Mike Gatting captaincy, England winning the Ashes 2-1 in Australia. And I just went through the statistics. Since that win in Australia, England have won only one Ashes in Australia under
Yeah.
Andre Strauss's captaincy. So
Yeah,
perhaps
yeah.
it could be 1986 revisited this year end.
Well, listen, I'm gonna be there. I'll be there with my travel group, my travel group clients, all for all 5 Test matches. I'm looking forward to that one. It's listen, it's the biggest. It's the Ashes is the one. As a player, it's the one you want to play in. As a spectator, it's still the one you that really catches the imagination, and we still go in hope. It's historically the Aussies have always they've got the upper hand on England at home, at England and in Australia. But this England team, it's as I said earlier, it challenges, it invigorates, it makes you as it exasperates you, it makes you fall in love with them, it makes you fall out of love with them. But it's always exciting, and I think this Ashes series, but but listen, this series is important against India. This to go down to Australia with a home win against India would be a great fillip, and really they'll be their chests will be even more prouder if they can go down there having beaten England in this home series. So they know that. I'm pretty sure that they'll be trying to keep the Ashes ambitions on hold until this series against India is out. But that's definitely a mouth-watering prospect that we have this winter, and I for one, am definitely looking forward to being there. Lots of great mates. I saw Merv Hughes and Jeff Thompson were over in Lords for the recent World Test Final Championship. So I caught up with a couple of friends there. Lots of friends in Australia. I played a lot of cricket in Australia, in Melbourne, in Adelaide. Got lots of really great friends, which we have a healthy rivalry. So I'm looking forward to renewing that and enjoying some wonderful cricket. But I'm also looking forward to the rest of this series against India here in England.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Now, if this England series against India will be a preparation of sorts for Ben Stokes and company come the Ashes, and you rightly said that first win this and then take the confidence into the Ashes. On that note, Gladstone, yeah, your closing remarks, and we just have to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, you can never take anything for granted. Obviously, England 1-0 up, and that's good to go. But I can assure you that India will regroup and come back stronger and ready to challenge England again. So England will have to be up for that one. I think it's going to be close this series. I think I've seen various obviously predictions, and 3-1 to England was probably the one that probably most favoured. But I think given the weather, I think all 5 Test matches will probably be result. So it could be 3-2. And which team comes up with 3, it's down to taking those moments, grabbing the moments when they come, and being in a position to really make sure when you have that moment and that tendency in the game, be brave and good enough to take it.
Thanks, Gladstone, and hopefully it's a 3-2 India. On
Oh,
that
well.
note, thank you so